And proving that not everything that's 74 years old has to be removed from Sports Report, here's John Murray.
Very good, very good. Well, I'm pleased to hear we've kept ourselves sense of humour anyway. And there is the whistle for the start of Brentford against Manchester United in the Premier League, in the sunshine here in Brentford's community stadium, the G-Tech community stadium as it is now. And we are absolutely sweltered, and when I say we, I mean Glenn Murray, who's sitting next to me, Premier League goal scorer with Crystal Palace and Bournemouth and Brighton, and this has the feel, Glenn, of a very big game.
Yes, especially for one side, and that side's Manchester United. Brentford have got a free hit here at a huge club, and I'm sure inside that Brentford dressing room they will fancy their chances this afternoon, as we see Manchester United being patient with their build-up.
Yes, they're playing from right to left in the first half, and Brentford now just clearing the ball away. Red and white striped shirts for the Bees, black shorts, red and white socks. Ben Mee just heading the ball forward near the edge of his own penalty area, and Brentford then going all the way back to goalkeeper David Raya. They've made two changes. Thomas Frank, their manager, from the opening match, the 2-2 draw against Leicester last weekend, the comeback match. More on that in a moment, but Rashford now playing the ball through the middle to Cristiano Ronaldo, who goes down. Henry in with a challenge just outside the penalty area. It was in the D by the time that he fell. Referee Stuart Atwell immediately says nothing doing, no free kick on the edge of the box. Boos from the home supporters for Cristiano Ronaldo for the way that he went down. Glenn?
Yes, I have to agree with Stuart Atwell. He's gone down in instalments there, John. The bar's been set a lot higher this season, as we've seen from the referees, and that is not going to warrant a free kick this season.
However, a moment of alarm for Brentford, and Rashford providing the ball through. So Brentford with Raya in goal. Three central defenders then, as United play the ball over the top, but that's headed away on the edge of the box by Pontus Jansson, and United go back to the halfway line. So the three central defenders, Roerslev coming into the team, Jansson and Mee, Hickey on the right, Henry on the left, and then in the middle, Norgard and Jensen, Josh De Silva, Brian and Burmo, and Ivan Toney up front. And Manchester United, just the one change, and that is Cristiano Ronaldo coming in to start for the first time this season, now fully fit. Was able to play only a minimal part in United's pre-season, so he's in. Scott McTominay is on the bench. So De Gea in goal, a back four of Dalot, Maguire, Martinez and Shaw. There was speculation that there would be a change at the back, but not so. In midfield, Fred, Bruno Fernandes and Christian Eriksen back here at the club where he made his comeback last season. There were some boos. It was a mixed reception when his name was read out pre-match, and Sancho and Rashford in the wider positions and Ronaldo through the middle. So this United attack comes to an end on Brentford, in Brentford's left back position, and it is a free kick that Ben Mee will take. So here we are, live Premier League football. In the unlikely event you've not heard, the Saturday 5:30 Premier League kick-off is a commentary match now on 5 Live and BBC Sounds for the foreseeable future, for the next 3 years at least. And this is being played in a terrific atmosphere swirling around the stadium, even though the capacity here is less than 20,000. Big shouts for Ivan Toney, who went down under the challenge, but no free kick. And United moving it through the middle. Bruno Fernandes, Cristiano Ronaldo tries a shot from way out on the right-hand side, but it bounces in front of Raya, who's able to fall forward and grab it into his chest.
Yes, Raya collected that very well, because the way that Cristiano Ronaldo struck that ball, it was wicked. It bounced about 3-4 foot just in front of the goalkeeper and skipped up off the turf, but his hands were nice and clean. Brilliant start by Manchester United. There's a lot of anticipation around the Brentford Stadium tonight that they would come and they would get a result, but Manchester United have come out and started this game fantastically well. Ball
forward for Burmo to make the run across the back line. It was Ivan Toney. That's going to be a feature today, Glenn, to see how uncomfortable Ivan Toney makes this for Maguire and Martinez.
Yes, that's funny you've mentioned that so early, John, because that's the first thing at the top of my notes. Martinez and Toney battle. I know that Brentford and Ivan Toney will have watched last week's game, the Manchester United versus Brighton game, and that is a big talking point. Martinez's height, he will be pulling on to him, and he will be asking questions all afternoon.
Yeah, I'd heard that he wasn't the tallest and you can never really tell it until you see someone in the flesh. But it is really quite striking when you see him on the field there. He's way short of 6 feet. It's a throw then, one of Brentford's long throws into the penalty area. It's rattling around inside the United box. It's still in play. And then with Norgard, the closest arriving to it, it was stabbed behind by combination of Eriksson and Martinez. It's a corner to Brentford.
Yes, it was classic pinball in the middle of the box then. It just wouldn't sit kindly enough for a Brentford player, and it is Eriksson, you're right. He just comes across and stabs it out of play for a Brentford corner. It
was the long throw from Matthias Jensen. Takes me back to the first match here of last season when Brentford made their return to the Premier League, and an unsettled Arsenal with the long throws. But it's a corner now from the right, and Burmo and Jensen are there. It looks as though it's going to be Burmo. It is. Left-footed to the near post. That's headed away. It was Cristiano Ronaldo. Henry arrives on it, but he snatched at the shot. There were defenders arriving, and he hit it wildly, actually, and it hit the advertising hoardings halfway up the stand to our right.
Yes, I think he saw his name in lights as he approached that ball there, and he just lost his composure, and it goes high into the stand behind the goal.
So it's 5 Live, BBC Sounds, Brentford 0, Manchester United 0. There'll be more reaction, interviews, and a full roundup again on all of the significant events this afternoon up and down the country, not just in the footballing world but in the sporting world as well. And mention of that reminds me to tell you that you can listen to commentary on the 100 right now on Sports Extra live from Cardiff. But it is a throw-in for Manchester United. Shaw takes the throw. He gets it back from Ronaldo. Long, high, left-footed ball looking for Jadon Sancho. Manchester United in this change kit of just sort of yellowy. It feels like it's got a green tinge to it as well. Fernandes playing the ball out towards the right-hand side. Sanchez is there. Christian Eriksen. Well, there are the boos.
Paul.
Christian Eriksen.
That's Paul from the Brentford fans, I feel.
Yeah, well, here he is again, made his comeback here. Brentford, Thomas Frank brought him here. This was obviously after the incident when he collapsed at the Euros in Copenhagen, as Luke Shaw is impeded for a high foot, and it's a free kick to Brentford. The challenge on Aaron Hickey, the right wing back, as he is in this match so far, and it's a free kick to Brentford. Point being, I think some of the Brentford supporters felt that they would have liked to have seen him repay the faith that he had in them. But I think the other side of that is for Christian Eriksen, with everything that's happened to him, the fact that he's 30 years old now, gets the chance to go to Manchester United on a 3-year contract.
Yes, it's a huge opportunity, and it's very naive of the supporters to boo him. I think they should be appreciative that they've seen him play for the club and do so well, because I think he was a huge plus in keeping them up, and that link with Tony that they created at the end of last season. So for them to boo him, I think it's really poor.
Foul on Hickey from Ronaldo, who looks less than impressed. They're just down in front of us here. Hickey went down just a tug by Ronaldo, pursed lips from him, and he walks past referee Atwell, and it's a free kick. I'm just chuckling because just as kickoff was approaching, the sun came round the side of the stand, so it is now blazing on us. We are really struggling to see this TV that's in front of us, so didn't have a chance to see how serious that challenge was by Ronaldo or otherwise, other than by the naked eye. So it's a free kick anyway, down in front of us, that Manchester United are holding an extremely high line, 8 or 9 yards outside their penalty area, and it's played square by Jensen. Then Norgard lifts it over the top. Good intention. He was looking for the run of Burmo, but Norgard just overhit it, and it bounced harmlessly through for a Manchester United goal kick. And it's Brentford 0, Manchester United 0, and this is Glenn Murray.
That little triangle there, that was straight from the training ground, wasn't it? It did everyone. It was a square ball out to Norgard, who tried to find Burmo, who just made a run behind the Manchester United defence, but the pass just was a little bit overhit, wasn't it?
And Glenn, Manchester United trying to play out from the back again. Ball ends up with Maguire, and they were all over him, Brentford, and he was able to win a throw in by deflecting it off the Brentford player. Cristiano Ronaldo goes down. Brentford come forward now. A low shot. Oh, it's gone in.
No.
It's gone in. Oh my goodness. Josh De Silva from 20 yards, but De Gea should have saved it. Routine save down to his left. It squirmed through his hands into the bottom corner. That is a nightmare again for Manchester United, again for David De Gea. And after his opening defeat in his first Premier League match at Old Trafford, Erik ten Hag sees his team go 1-0 down here after 10 minutes with a goal like that. Brentford 1, Manchester United 0, and that's 2-2 for Josh De Silva.
Hence my reaction as it slipped in through De Gea's hands. Oh no, slipped out of my mouth. I couldn't believe it. It looked like he'd saved the ball already. He had both palms behind it, but it just slipped off and rolled into the back of the net for a horrendous error from the Spanish goalkeeper, the Manchester United #1. As I see Fred just go over to him and give him a little bit of a cuddle, a little bit of a pep talk. The one thing that you've got to take from this right now from a Manchester United perspective is there's time to get back in this game. But as far as Brentford are concerned, what a fantastic start to the game.
Well, you know, it might be a new start, it might be a new story, as Erik ten Hag said in his programme notes at Old Trafford last weekend, but it really feels like we've seen all this before. But Luke Shaw is carrying the ball up towards the edge of the penalty area, and now Fernandes arriving on the edge of the box, hits a shot high over the top, but Cristiano Ronaldo went down early in that move. I don't know whether he was caught after the ball had gone. Well, he went down, but now he's back up on his feet. It looked for a moment as though, you know, he was in some serious pain there, but he has got back to his feet quite quickly.
I thought for a moment he'd really hurt himself because it was theatrical, but he's up and he's absolutely fine. But there's Manchester United at their best. 1-2s. Luke Shaw cutting right through the heart of the Brentford defence and gets laid back to Fernandes. Very similar to an opportunity he had against Brighton at Old Trafford last week. And again, he mistimes the shot and puts it over the bar, but Bruno Fernandes will be disappointed with that.
Flowing move for United though. Fernandes to Sancho on the right hand side, but his low cross is blocked. Brentford were quickly back in there in numbers. You have to give them credit in this sweltering heat. Very early stages still. Deep cross to the back post. Hickey gets under it. Rashford was thinking about allowing it to bounce out of play, but he's kept it in, kept possession. Rashford now back centrally to Martinez, and then to the left hand side to Shaw. But Manchester United still shaken by the way that they've conceded that opening goal. David De Gea hanging his head. I mean, he goes from the brilliant to moments like that happen to him on a too frequent basis, really.
Yeah, I mean, as far as Erik ten Hag's concerned, I mean, he's one player that you think you can rely on, and he's an elder statesman at the squad. But I'm just looking, John, as we both sat here in our caps watching this game, and the sun is directly in David De Gea's eyes, and I wonder why he hasn't got a cap on, and if that had a point to play in the goal.
Offside flag against Marcus Rashford, so it's a free kick to Brentford. But I mean, it was quite a low shot. But I see what you're saying, whether there was a moment of being dazzled in the midst of that. I
mean, it's directly in front of him in the sun, and it's beating down on him, and I just wonder, why not have a hat on just for that extra bit of security?
You know, I think that's a great point. So David De Gea, I mean, diving down to his left, as I said at the time, it looked like a routine save. Josh De Silva on his right foot, round about 20 yards out, hit it well enough, but scrambling down to his left just slipped through his hands and into the bottom corner.
It was almost as if he felt as though he'd already made the save and that he was moving on to the next action and was looking where he was going to pass the ball next.
But you know what I mean? It feels like, you know, it's the same old problems. You know, if it's not one thing with Manchester United, it's another.
But taking that one error, and you can't, I mean, it's an individual error that you can't thing for. I mean, it's just one of those. Manchester United's start of this game has been very good. They look much better than last week.
Agreed. Here is De Silva, Brentford's goal scorer. 2 goals in 2 matches. Great story. Low cross into the penalty area, cleared away by Martinez with his right foot. Josh De Silva, who had these injury problems, the hip injury, and here now Mbeumo hitting a shot, but straight into Maguire on the edge of the box, and then Martinez is able to head it away. Comes out to Jensen, turns the full 360 degrees, gives it to Hickey. Now the ball to the right hand side, De Silva in the box on the left, plays it across, it's half cleared, but then a foul by Norgard on the edge of the area and a free kick to Manchester United. But yes, you're right, Glenn. You know, we've seen some flowing moves from Manchester United already in the match, not 15 minutes played. Unfortunately, the damning fact is they're 1-0 down.
I mean, even though Brentford are leading this game 1-0, we're 14 minutes into the game, and that's the first bit of possession they've had anywhere near the Manchester United 18-yard box. And Justice Silva was the main part of it again, playing it across. And look, if Manchester United, they managed to get rid of it, but that's the best little pattern of play Brentford have had so far.
Brentford 1, Manchester United 0. That is the scoreline here. A goalkeeping error by David De Gea. Josh De Silva's shot slipping into the bottom corner, and you can hear the crowd getting onto De Gea as the ball is passed back to him. So last Sunday, you might have heard it on 5 Live, in Eric Ten Hag's first Premier League match, they lose to Brentford for the first time, and now they fail to clear. And then Harry Maguire puts the challenge in the D on Mbeumo. It's a free kick and it's a yellow card. Well, there was a moment there I did wonder whether there might have been a case for a red. I think quite correctly the point was made that the ball was running across the penalty area. I think that might have saved Maguire there. Yellow card for the Manchester United captain.
Yes, there was a recovering defender there. I can't quite make out who it was on the screen. But for me, it's a bad pass from Maguire to begin with. He gives it to Eriksen, who's under a lot of pressure. He tries to play the ball round the corner, facing his own goal, that gets cut out. And all of a sudden, Brentford are on the attack. And it leads to Harry Maguire having to make a last-ditch challenge. It's bad play by Manchester United.
Glenn, if Brentford, I mean, this is a free kick in the D, slightly left of centre, near the middle of the D. If Brentford can get a second goal now in this match,
I'd be very interested to see how these Manchester United players reacted to that.
Absolutely. And Mbeumo standing to the right of the ball, and the Manchester United wall, that yellowy green wall. 3, 4, 5 Manchester United players in there, a couple of Brentford players as well. And the free kick is ready to be taken. They've got a man lying down behind the wall as well. It's hit up and over the top of the crossbar, harmlessly away.
That wasn't very far away. It's just got up and over the wall. He couldn't quite get the dip on it, and it goes over the uncovered side of the goal. But if I was Thomas Frank, the one message I would have been getting onto the field of play there would be hit it on target, ask questions of David De Gea, especially after just what's happened.
Yeah. Jensen with the free kick. Oh, Jensen's run the ball back in the area, shoots low, it's there, it's 2-0. Christian Eriksen was caught in possession inside his own penalty area. He presented it to Matthias Jensen, and his fellow Dane said thank you very much, and with his right foot buried it into the empty net, and Brentford celebrate a second goal, and Manchester United's players are looking daggers at one another. Well, it's happening again. Eric Ten Hag stands down on the touchline. And again, last week in the first half, his team were 2-0 down to Brighton. This week, they're 2-0 down to Brentford.
And he stands on the edge of the pitch there, and I can just see the slight shake of the head and the wave of the arm. He is not very happy. But Manchester United are causing their own problems again. Only 1 minute ago we said about Maguire giving the ball to Eriksen and playing a blind pass around the corner. He does it again. Eriksen's always going to show for the ball to give an option. But the pass isn't on. The players need to realise that. He gives it away in his own 18-yard box. And Jensen capitalises, rolls it in to the bottom right-hand corner of De Gea's net. Manchester United causing their own problems again in this game.
Not 20 minutes played. Brentford 2, Manchester United 0. Extraordinary, really. What a start for Eric Ten Hag. The last Manchester United manager to lose his first 2 competitive matches was John Chapman in 1921. And Manchester United finished bottom and were relegated that season. Here's Mbeumo taking the ball away, but he ran it out of play after the challenge. Came in, he beat I thought it was just over, Glenn. Did you think not?
That was very, very tight from where we sat, John, I think that's very beneficial for the defensive side of Manchester United, that Mbeumo was away. If that call wasn't made, I would like to see a replay.
Well, the assistant ruled it that it had crossed the line. It was touch and go. Remains 2-0. But I mean,
so can you tell me why that wasn't ran on and looked back at VAR afterwards?
I think they did. Because that's not. You can't look at that. That's one of those incidents. One of the key 4 areas that you. That wasn't one of them. Ball out on the touchline. Here come Manchester United on the right-hand side, and now they've got to come from 2-0 down. And even though there were promising early signs, Cristiano Ronaldo now hits a shot on the edge of the penalty area, but it flies up and away over the top by 3 or 4 yards. Never threatened David Raya's goal. But I mean, honestly, Glenn, I almost can't believe what I'm seeing here after last week. To see what Brighton did so well, we should say, against Manchester United. But to implode like this, those 2 goals at this level are unacceptable.
Yeah, you're right, it is unacceptable, but the crazy thing is, coming into the game today, I really did believe Brentford could get something out of this game. I didn't think they'd put 2-0 up so early on in the game, but they've caused their own problems, Manchester United. Apart from those 2 mistakes, they've played quite well. I mean, it sounds crazy, but Rashford's been quite bright.
That sounds a little bit like the old Abraham Lincoln, doesn't it, when he was assassinated in the theatre, and they said, but apart from everything else, Mrs. Lincoln, how did you enjoy the play? Throw in, Shaw takes it, Ronaldo inside his own half. There is space on the far side, and Ronaldo finds it, and Dalot is able to stretch his legs, open his legs, move into Brentford territory. But if you've just switched onto us on 5 Live, if you've been at a match, Manchester United are 2-0 down. Shaw now crossing from the left-hand side. Henry gets up to head that away. Comes out for United again. And now the ball is played low across the penalty area. But Brentford are able to block that and clear it up towards the halfway line. And you can hear the reaction. Harry Maguire, when he's on the ball, he's already had uncertain moments in this match. United coming again on the right-hand side with Sancho and then Dalot. And back it goes now to Bruno Fernandes in a more deep-lying position. He turns, plays it square. And then Lisandro Martinez, the Argentine, the number 6 for Manchester United, turns it to the captain, Harry Maguire. United dominating possession now inside the Brentford half. Here's Fred's pass with the diagonal to Bruno Fernandes. Brentford have got everyone back behind the ball.
Yes, Brentford are just happy sitting in their shape and shuffling and allowing Manchester United to break them down. They're just saying, come on, have a go, see what you can do, see if you can play between the lines. But so far, Manchester United are just passing around the outside of this Brentford ship. Yeah,
Eriksson again being booed, even though he was at fault. He was the man dispossessed for the second Brentford goal when Matthias Jensen pickpocketed him inside the penalty area. And then there's an overhit pass from out on the right-hand side, which I don't think will bounce out of play. Rashford is trying to shield it, but Hickey does well and allows the ball to bounce out of play for a throw-in to Brentford. He's one of the new faces, the 5 new signings. Aaron Hickey, the young Scottish international, the 20-year-old, after a couple of seasons in Italy, was signed from Bologna, but great things were being said about him during the course of last season. Had a full season with them. You have to say, Glenn, I think Brentford have done some very interesting business this summer with some of the signings they've made, like Hickey, like Mikael Damsgaard, who's on the bench, the signing this week.
That isn't the word I would use, interesting. I would say it's been shrewd. It's young, it's talented, and it's mouldable, and it fits into the Brentford system, and that's what they do. And that's why I think Manchester United are so far behind their competitors, because there's a plan at other places.
Here's Rashford on the edge of the area, hits the shot, but there were 2 Brentford defenders there. Roerslev and Janssen were together. Brentford switched to 3 central defenders in their comeback against Leicester. That's how they've started here. Mee heads the ball out to Dalot, and now Manchester United again. Dalot on the edge of the area. He hits a low shot, but Raya is able to get down to his right quite comfortably. He slipped as he hit it, so it lacked power, and it was just down to the goalkeeper's right.
But Erik ten Hag will be happy seeing his right back in the opposition 18-yard box unleashing shots. It wasn't quite the he didn't quite have the power or accuracy he wanted, but it is a positive for Manchester United, and I think any positive for them at the moment is a plus.
Brentford 2, Manchester United 0. And Brentford, you cannot take your eyes off this. And Burmell plays it back to The ball that is hit over the top by Tony, and eventually it does roll out of play. It was shepherded out by Eriksson in the end.
I mean, shepherded out 20 yards behind anyone else in the Manchester United shirt is Eriksson. How is that possible? How is it not a left back or a centre back? As we just pause for a drink break here, one question I wanted to ask you, John, is obviously when Manchester United look at the opening fixtures of the season and they see Brighton and they see Brentford and they obviously think there's points there to be had. I mean, there's a long way left to go in this fixture, but I wanted to pick you up on the stat you gave us. The last time Manchester United lost 2 games, do you know who they were against?
When they lost first 2 matches of the season?
The new manager.
Oh, the new manager?
Yeah, the stat you gave us earlier.
What, back in 1921?
Yes.
No, do you know?
No, I don't.
Glenn,
it's your stat.
Glenn, I had enough trouble finding out who the manager was. I've been trying to find that out all week, and I found out this afternoon at about 2 o'clock.
I was teeing you up there. I thought I was doing you a favour, John.
Well, that just goes to show there's always more, isn't there, when you look up something like that. What I can tell you is that the man who was the manager who last lost his first 2 matches, John Chapman, who was a Scotsman. He was Manchester United's 6th manager in their history, and they finished bottom that season, were relegated to Division 2. But what I love about it is that 3 years later, when Manchester United came back, he was still the manager. So he took them down, but 3 years later brought them back up.
Well, I think if that's the case, I don't think we'll be seeing Erik ten Hag again in 3 years.
I was just going to say,
especially not at Manchester United.
Manchester United finished bottom this season. I think you're absolutely right. I think he'll be long gone. But listen, there's a long way to go, and I think actually the drinks break has now come to an end, incidentally. I think the very fact that we're seeing the same sort of mistakes happening almost underlines the fact that Erik ten Hag has not had time to have a proper influence yet.
I don't think they're the same mistakes that happened last weekend. I think that Brighton were the better team last weekend. In this affair, I don't feel as though Brentford have really come out and played much. They've just pounced on opportunities that Manchester United have gifted them. I mean, Brentford have been happy sitting in their shape for large periods of this game.
As Brentford come forward again. Brentford 2, Manchester United 0 in this hot sunshine. And Manchester United through Maguire, just clearing the ball away, and it bounces out of play on the halfway line. The point I'm making, Glenn, is not so much last weekend's mistakes that have been happening to Manchester United for years now under a string of different managers. Yeah,
you're right. It is years. It is. It's incredible to see how far they have fallen.
Well, they're falling to defeat here, 2-0 down. A long way to go in the match. Still just under 3/4 of the 90 minutes to play as the ball is played infield. It's taken infield by Norgard, who is tripped. It's a free kick near the right edge of the box, Glenn.
I've just watched Bruno Fernandes clearly trip the Brentford player, and then he's gestising to the referee with his arms outstretched and he's moaning. It's a clear free kick. What is the point of he's still moaning at Stuart Atwell now?
Yep, chuntering away as Stuart Atwell.
And that boils down to frustration. That's what it is. It's frustration at himself, at his team, at the situation they find themselves in, and he's looking from external sources to take it out on.
So he's just having a drinks break, then rather carelessly didn't have a drinks break when the players were having a drinks break. Jensen to take this free kick then. 2-man United wall, lots of red and white striped Brentford shirts there inside the penalty area. Jensen raises his arm, curls it nicely. Oh, and De Gea diving to his right. I mean, that was so close to getting a touch from one of the heads in there, whether it was a Brentford or Manchester United man. De Gea dived to his right, pushed it away, and now there's a foul on the far side, and it's a free kick to Manchester United, to Brentford in the Manchester United right back area.
And the pressure is growing on Manchester United, but what a save by De Gea, because like you said, there could have been a touch on that. The goalkeeper can't go too early. It's going across his goal. If he goes too early, somebody gets a touch, it goes into an empty net. He timed that perfectly, the Spanish goalkeeper, and pushed it to relative safety.
So a free kick that Jensen has wandered across to take again. So Ben Mee is still up there, another one of those new signings. We'll come back to that, Glenn, when we get a chance. But Pontus Jansson as well, the captain, is in there too, so considerable presence from those two. Free kick then from the left, right-footed from Jensen into the near post, and it's deflected right across the penalty area. There were, two players from each side going for that, and in the end, Rashford deflects the ball behind from Norgaard's cross high up into the stand for another corner to Brentford.
Thomas Frank can't want any more from that free kick from Jensen. It's a superb free kick. It's right on the money. It's in the danger area. Luckily for Manchester United, they managed to scramble it clear.
Set-piece delivery has been outstanding. And now...
Cue this corner hitting the front post.
Well, I sat and watched Chelsea hit corner after corner this time last week in the first half. The Brentford players grouped together. Now they head in all sorts of different directions. There are two potential takers. It's Mbermo hit, says no. It's to the back post, and it's headed back across for Brentford, and the ball drops into the net. Ben Mee got a touch to it. The goal stands. Ben Mee races away and punches the air. And it's Brentford 3, Manchester United 0, and they simply didn't deal with it. A back post header that dropped across the face of the goal, and Ben Mee almost on the goal line getting some sort of touch to deflect it in. And I'm not sure this Manchester United side are going to be capable of coming back from this, even though we've got an hour to play. It's Brentford 3, Manchester United 0.
It's a routine corner to the back stick, but it's the big man Ivan Toney that wins the ball. And somehow Ben Mee almost falls and heads it into the back of the net at the back stick to make it 3-0 to Brentford. And the Manchester United players trudge out of their 18-yard box, heads hung in shame.
Simple set-piece goal, well-worked set-piece goal.
Yes, and it's funny because Erik ten Hag, he highlighted that point this week, didn't he? How the set-piece goal last weekend against Brighton was a plus because they've been so bad at them last season. And then he sees his side do that and eat his own words.
Delivery was brilliant though, and Mbermo, who took it with the left foot. Somebody's run onto the field, so we've got a delay here.
I don't know if he's had too much sun or too much beer, John.
Well, it's possibly a combination of them both, but he's been wrestled to the ground by the stewards. And under the new rules this season, this is where it's absolute madness, because this young man, he's banned now. He's banned from going to football.
And rightfully so, John. Yeah. You can't be running the field of play at any point in any game. It's just unacceptable behaviour, especially with some of the scenes we saw at the end of last season. So
3-0 to Brentford. The scoreline was a surprise last Sunday. Brighton having never won there against Manchester United, but they played so well, Brighton, in the first half particularly. But this is just extraordinary.
I know we're sitting here and Brentford are 3-0 up. Do you think they've played that well, John?
I don't. Actually,
that's the funny thing.
They've not had to.
Manchester United have created their own issues and not defended properly, and they find themselves 3-0 down, and they pretty much are the only 3 opportunities, if you can call them that Brentford have had.
Well, Mark Chapman will round everything up for you that's happened today in the sporting world at half-time. Arsenal and Manchester City have got 2 wins out of 2 now. Also among the main stories, Alexander Mitrovic having a late penalty saved in Fulham's 0-0 at Wolves. A big win for Rangers, 4-0 against St Johnstone. The QPR goalkeeper scoring late on to make it 2-2 at Sunderland. And we will hear from Ralph Hasenhüttl, the Southampton manager, after their 2-2 with Leeds, and also from Brendan Rodgers, the Leicester City manager, after that 4-2 defeat at Arsenal. That is all coming up at half-time on 5 Live. But the big story of the day is happening and unfolding right in front of our eyes here at the Community Stadium in West London, between the M4 and the River Thames, in this stifling sunshine. And I think that in itself is another point. In these conditions, for Manchester United to have to come from 3-0 down, and that is going to take a Herculean effort.
Yes, and as you were given that report there, the Brentford fans were in full voice and they were singing, "You should have stayed at a big club." I wonder who that was aimed at.
I wonder. Poor Christian Eriksen. Wasn't supposed to happen this way. Fernandes crossing the ball out towards the right-hand side. Dalot in the shadows to our left. Sancho, back to Dalot, then Sancho again, a dart into the penalty area, a little ball through for Fred. Fred is forced wide, he has to give it back out to Dalot. Dalot's low ball across, Sancho took a touch, but it bounced away from him, and there are so many numbers in there, Brentford. I've got everyone in there that, you know, this back five that it is, and they clear the ball downfield, and now it's played across from Burmo, and Burmo gets away from Shaw and scores, and it's 4-0, this time on the counter-attack. Brentford have not witnessed anything like this for decades and decades and decades. They're 4-0 up on Manchester United. This is dreamland for them and for Thomas Frank, but it's a living nightmare for that man down there, the new Manchester United manager, Erik ten Hag, who sits quietly in his seat. This scoreline will be being sent out all around the world, and it is Brentford 4, Manchester United 0.
People all over the world will be sitting up and noticing this result. 4-0 already before half-time. The mighty Manchester United undone by Brentford Football Club, and that goal right there was absolutely brilliant. They won the ball in their own 18-yard box, played it down the channel. Tony was free to run down the channel. He plays it into the centre of the field. Brian Brentwood bursts in his guts to get there, has a touch and plays it to the right-hand side. Nice, hard and low, side-footed down the side of David De Gea to make it 4-0, and it is absolutely unbelievable. I'm lost for words, John. I really am. This is incredible what we're witnessing here.
But I mean, this is on a par, and you don't have to go back far. This is on a par with their penultimate match of last season when they lost 4-0 at Brighton. And in actual fact, this has to be a defeat now. I mean, surely they can't come back from this. And if that's the case, that will be 8 consecutive league away defeats for Manchester United. And I mean, that has not happened. That a run like that has not happened since 1936. And actually, strangely, within that run back in 1936 of what turned out to be 10 consecutive away league defeats in a row, they lost 4-0 away to Brentford. Isn't it strange?
It is.
How you get quirks like that. But this is the present day. This is 2022, and this is unreal. It's 4-0 to Brentford. Here's the man who scored the latest goal, and Burmo. And suddenly Brentford out, knocking the ball around on the edge of the box. De Silva, who started the corner, the scoring, gives it to the left-hand side. The cross from me, that's headed away by Shaw. De Silva, a heavy touch, and then it's won back by Hickey, who actually hurt himself in the challenge on Fred, and Manchester United in the end actually come out with the ball. Less than 10 minutes to go to half-time. Bruno Fernandes long downfield, Rashford, and Raya has come out of his goal, and the goalkeeper got a meaningful touch. It was an aerial challenge actually between him and Rashford has been left on the ground. I don't think there was a suggestion that was a foul by Raya, who was challenging. No, it seemed cleanly for the ball, but he's caught Rashford.
Yes, both players, it was an honest attempt from both players to get the ball, and it was just a collision as they were both running to one another. Raya comes out, he gets a good chunk of the ball, and he clears it to safety.
Glenn, you had a long career as a professional footballer, what, 20 years or thereabouts?
Yes.
You don't see occasions like this too often, do you? I mean, this feels massive.
That's why I just said I'm lost for words. And listen, I've been in dressing rooms of clubs sort of similar size to Brentford, and before this game there would have been a belief that they could go out there and beat this current Manchester United crop when they seen the line-up. Obviously what's going on at the football club at the moment, that there would have been a slight belief, but there would have been a worry as well. But slowly throughout this first half, we have seen that belief grow into confidence, and they're stroking the ball around now. And as you can hear, I mean, the Brentford fans are in absolute dreamland, and I just wonder, does it get any better for a Brentford supporter?
Well, Marcus Rashford, who was clattered by David Raya, who headed the ball away and then caught Rashford. Obviously they're taking care with him. Marcus Rashford is very much in the news at the moment. Clearly PSG are interested, but Erik ten Hag was making it very plain yesterday that he wants him to stay. But I mean, what a start this is. Losing 2-1 to Brighton in his first Premier League match, and now 4-0 down at Brentford. Brighton and Brentford, with all due respect, and they deserve respect, both of them, for what Brighton did last weekend and for what Brentford have done here. But even so,
I mean, there are fractions in the Manchester United side that you can see that the players aren't happy, but I think the biggest problem for me is that triangle at the back. Is Martinez, Maguire and De Gea. They don't look comfortable together. And as that fourth goal went in, I could see Maguire going back towards his goalkeeper and centre-back partner with his arms flailing in the air, and that isn't what you want. You need to be a team. Whether you're winning or losing, you need to do it together, and at the moment, Manchester United aren't.
Yeah, there just looks to be a greater hunger out there, I must say. We're watching now Brentford and Roerslev and Norgard, De Silva. I mean, De Silva looks... I mean, talk about hunger. He looks as though he hasn't eaten for a fortnight.
I mean, I would really like to see the stats, the running, the high-speed running and the distance covered, because the fundamentals of football, you take all talent out of it, and the least you can do is work hard. And I just question this Manchester United group. Are they working hard enough, regardless of if their actions are correct, if their decisions are correct? Are they working hard enough? And that is the easiest thing to do as a footballer.
Brentford it is in possession, warm applause. Their second season in the Premier League. They were terrific the way that they came back and got a point at Leicester last weekend, but they've been out of this world against Manchester United here, taking the chances. But here's Rashford into the penalty area, and Rashford trying to work the ball across, took a deflection, but David Raya was able to drop onto it and hold it securely. This is BBC Radio 5 Live on a Saturday night. And what a story we're bringing you in this 5:30 kickoff. Brentford 4, Manchester United 0. 4 goals from 4 different players. Josh De Silva in the 10th minute, Matthias Jensen in the 18th, Ben Mee in the 30th, his first goal for the club on his home debut, and Brian Mbeumo in the 35th.
John, you need to start giving a warning out before you deliver that, because there'll be people out there crashing, there'll be accidents, people falling off seats, because it's incredible, isn't it? It's not even half-time and it's 4-0 to Brentford.
As if we haven't got enough to worry about at the moment. The ball's played forward up towards Rashford, but it bounces off Roerslev and out of play for a throw into United near the halfway line. United's substitutes today: Malacia, Varane, Wan-Bissaka, Van der Beek, Alanga, Garner, McTominay and Garnacho, as well as Tom Heaton. United coming forward, but I mean, frankly, 4-0 down in these conditions, in these sweltering conditions. I mean, normally 4-0 down, you would say no, but it has to be too much on a day like this.
Oh, yes, I mean, it would be an absolutely incredible comeback. They are probing, they are showing signs of life, but Brentford are just so comfortable sat in their shape.
Here's Fernandez on the edge of the area, shoots, but that's blocked again. There are 2 Brentford defenders in the way, as has so often been the case. Shaw plays it square. Has happened before, of course. Remember, Cheick Tiote and Arsenal and Newcastle. But I just, sitting here, it's all very well talking about that, sitting here inside the ground and feeling what this is like, and the way that the players have been, the way the crowd are, just the reaction of the players. That's why I'm saying there's over half the game to play, but I cannot see it.
We've just witnessed Martinez, the deepest player for Manchester United, in possession of the ball, try and cut back across Mbeumo. I mean, why would you risk that? The Brentford player is in on goal if he robs you there of the ball. I mean, he needs to get up to speed with the Premier League.
Better from United, working it on the edge of the area. Fred and Fernandez. Shaw tries to play it in, it bounces away. Eriksson nods it forward, half cleared away, nodded in by Maguire, headed away by Ben Mee, and then Maguire out towards the right-hand side. Manchester United are parked inside the Brentford half, but they're 4-0 down. As Bruno Fernandes is going to try a shot from 22, 23 yards out, but it curls away over by a couple of yards over the top corner.
Brentford are happy with them shooting through people, shooting from 25 yards. And you say that Manchester United are camped in the Brentford half. I think that's Brentford allowing them to camp in there. I think Brentford are happy to sit in their shape, their 2 banks, everyone behind the ball. And I'm just wondering if this is a tactic from Thomas Frank to conserve energy. and just sit and allow Manchester United to run, make runs that they're not going to get the ball on, and just waste energy and time at this point.
Yeah. One of the Brentford regulars, when we were talking about the match this afternoon, Glenn, before the game, he actually said, Brentford have got as much energy as any team in the Premier League when we were talking about the conditions. And I mean, they're brilliantly coached. Thomas Frank, he's won a lot of friends, hasn't he, and a lot of admirers, this Danish coach.
Yeah, he has indeed, and deservedly so. But it's not just Thomas Frank, it's everybody at the football club. There's a clear philosophy that everyone's pulling in the right direction, and this is what happens when you get that.
Well, they're equaling their record win at the moment against Manchester United. That was that 4-0 in Division 1 back in 1947. Their only previous spell in the top flight when they were there either side of World War II. But this will be Manchester United's first defeat to Brentford since then. First time they've lost to Brentford since before the Second World War. 4-0. 4 additional minutes will be played at the end of this first half, but what a first half we've seen here. Long and forward. Roeslav is underneath that, one of the 2 players that Thomas Frank brought into his side. Changed to start with 3 central defenders, having finished the game against Leicester with 3 and making that comeback. So what a start to the season it is for them. 2-0 down against Leicester, but then getting a point from that match, and now starting here, but helped by those early errors by Manchester United. David De Gea, you'll see it on Match of the Day tonight. You'll be able to talk about it on 606 as well, by the way, from 7:30 or thereabouts, with Robbie Savage and Chris Sutton. Shaw playing the ball into the Brentford box. Raya comes for it, gets a hand to it, but Rico Henry is on hand just to stoop and head the ball back to his goalkeeper, and he's got it safely. Yes, we'll hear from Chris and Robbie at half-time once we've rounded everything up with Mark Chapman. But I did look on the website yesterday at Chris Sutton's predictions, and I saw that he predicted a 3-0 win for Brentford in this match. And I thought to myself, good old Chris, there he is. He's stirring up a few with that. Actually, he's been too conservative. Incredibly.
Well, Brentford haven't been first on Match of the Day very often, but I think tonight the fans will get just what they want.
They will, and sadly, so will Manchester United be first on, just like last Sunday night as well, after the Brighton defeat. And Maguire is just dwelling on the ball. Tony is all over the back of him. He was able to flick it back to goalkeeper De Gea. And now a challenge from Hickey, who goes in rather strongly on Ronaldo. But there were 2 of them there. It was Janssen and Hickey together. They sandwiched Ronaldo, not letting him settle. Okay, it's a foul.
It's a free kick and no more. He's just stepped across Ronaldo. Ronaldo, I think, was happy. He was going nowhere. He's happy to buy that free kick, and Manchester United are going to load the box for what could possibly be one of the last efforts of the first half.
I can see the television cameraman down there just hovering next to Erik ten Hag. I mean, what a first half for him. When you thought it perhaps couldn't get any worse, it just has. Free kick is played in by Eriksson, but Raya comes very confidently and catches the ball. We've still got a minute and a half of the first half added time to play. But Erik ten Hag, you know, he's been a serial winner at Ajax, winner of the league title with them the last couple of seasons, managed at a big club, but now he is facing the unprecedented pressure of being the manager of Manchester United when things are not going well.
This is without doubt the biggest test he'll have of his career, and I think you look at Manchester United from the outside and the size of the club lures you in, but for me at the moment it's a poison chalice. I think that it all boils down to the owners. Do the owners want success? Are they backing Manchester United enough? I think there's a huge question mark hanging over that. We talk about Brentford and how everyone's pulling in one direction. There's the philosophy, the exact opposite to Manchester United.
Fred concedes a free kick. Brentford played in. Jensen into the penalty area, a stretch and away from Martinez, who was up against Norgard near the corner of the 6-yard box. Well, they've already scored from a corner from this side. Surely not another one. Just before the break to round it all off. The last one was brilliantly delivered, if you remember, if you were listening, by Mbermo to the back post. And Tony got up for that. What have they got this time up their Brentford sleeves? Well, the players gathered together near the penalty spot. All of them head in different directions again. And here is the delivery this time. It's actually from Jensen, but that's deep as well. It's taken down by Tony, who backed away. He tried to play it across the penalty area. It was cut out by Fred. And there is the half-time whistle. And Manchester United are put out of their misery for, well, 15 minutes of the half-time break in the cool of the dressing room. But what a red-hot, what a white-hot first half for Brentford, who are winning 4-0 against Manchester United. It's just been remarkable, Glenn Murray.
It has been absolutely incredible, and there's two people I watch trudge off that field there, and I'd love to give a penny for their thoughts. One's Cristiano Ronaldo, the heights at which he left this football club and what he's returned to, and the other one's Christian Eriksen, who must be thinking he's going to wake up at any point, because this is a living nightmare.
It is, yeah. Erik ten Hag facing defeat in his second match, and facing the possibility, in fact the likelihood, of being the first Manchester United manager to lose his first 2 matches in charge since 1921. I simply cannot see them coming back from Brentford 4, Manchester United 0 here at half-time.
And you look at that, Glenn, don't you, and think, if only United had managed to get Marko Arnautovic in this week.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking, actually, chappers.
I mean, good grief. I mean, look, this is a well-run, well-coached football club with the players that the head coach wants, with a system that works in modern 21st century football, against a club that appears absolutely rotten from the top to the bottom.
But,
isn't it?
I don't know why you sound so surprised.
I'm not surprised. I mean, it was the same last week. The surprise around Brighton winning. It's exactly the same thing. Brighton, Brentford, well run, well coached, everybody pulling in the same direction. Manchester United, rotten. A change at the helm is not going to change this football club. Well, I say helm, and by helm I mean the manager. The hierarchy, if that was to change, then I think that the club could possibly get back on track. I mean, we've heard the superstars that made Manchester United such a driving force in well, I say the modern day game, but those times have gone. I suppose your Gary Nevilles, your Roy Keanes, your Rio Ferdinands. And you know what? I actually really feel for those fellas, because they made this club what it is. You can't live in the past, Glenn. You can't live in the past.
No, you can't.
They seem determined to live in the past like it's a 90s theme park.
But it must hurt those guys that made the club so great to see it falling so badly at the moment.
For all that you could criticise systems and this, that, and the other. Brentford know that Manchester United can't play out from the back. So John said they run more than anybody else. They've got more energy than anybody else. So they press and they cause Manchester United problems, because Brentford know how, as Brighton did, know how to work United out.
I mean, hard work beats talent every day. If talent doesn't work hard, and that is, it's an old adage, but for me that sums Manchester United up at the moment. They have got superstars. Listen, Jadon Sancho was absolutely superb in Germany for Dortmund. He was brilliant in the Champions League. He doesn't come to Manchester United and all of a sudden become a bad player. It's the system, it's the structure, it's the football club.
More from John and Glenn, second half on the way. The lines are open, I think, for 606 08 085 909 693. You can get your calls in now. You can text 85058 and book your call as well. In the 100 earlier, wins for Trent Rockets women and men in the games against Manchester Originals. Birmingham's women beat Welsh Fire women earlier. The men are just underway, aren't they, Charlie Taylor?
It's been a great start for Welsh Fire. They opted to bowl, and they had Birmingham Phoenix 27 for 3 after the power play. The huge wickets of Will Smead out for a duck. Moeen strangled down the leg side, and Livingstone bowled trying to scoop. So Welsh Fire very much on top here. At the moment, it is 29 for 3 after 31 balls. And as you said earlier today, Birmingham Phoenix women beating the Welsh Fire, so hoping for a bit of a comeback.
And you can listen to that on Sports Extra. You'll hear from Ralph Hasenhüttl and Brendan Rodgers during half-time. And at full-time, of course, it's Chris and Robbie with 6:06. Matthew Bone has your news, 24 minutes past 6.
Listen on BBC Sounds. This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
The man accused of stabbing the author Sir Salman Rushdie has been charged with attempted murder. Sir Salman is currently on a ventilator in hospital after he was stabbed at an event in New York State. He has been the target of death threats for decades after he wrote the controversial book The Satanic Verses, which some Muslims consider blasphemous. Our correspondent Nomia Iqbal is outside the hospital in Pennsylvania and says his security had been more relaxed in recent years.
3 years ago, I interviewed him at a literature festival in the UK, and he turned up with his son and he had his agent, and I asked him where his security was, and he almost brushed it off and he said, well, you know, those risks were of the past. You know, throughout the 90s, he was obviously one of the most endangered authors, but he said he wanted to live his life more freely.
The MP Jonathan Edwards has been told to resign by the leader of his Plaid Cymru party after assaulting his wife 2 years ago. Mr Edwards was given a police caution following the incident and sat as an independent until the whip was restored this week. Officials representing train drivers will hold formal talks with rail bosses next week to try to settle a dispute over paying conditions. A strike by workers in the ASLEF union has brought disruption to railways today. And Taliban forces in the Afghan capital Kabul have fired guns into the air to disperse a women's rights protest. Around 40 women marched in front of the Education Ministry, chanting bread, work, freedom, marking a year since the Taliban takeover.
BBC 5 Live.
This is Ben Shepherd.
And Chris Kamara.
And we can't wait to bring you our new podcast, Cammy and Ben's Proper Football Podcast. What can people expect, Cam?
Big names, big laughs.
I never wash my jockstrap if we won. We went 19 games undefeated.
I said, you told me to look after Frank.
He went, never go out with him again.
It's just ridiculousness at its highest order.
I quite literally fouled every outfield player from the middle of the team.
You don't want to miss it.
Cammy and Ben's Proper Football Podcast with me, Ben Shepherd, and my mate Chris Kamara.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
Sports Report. This is BBC 5 Live.
Half-time at Brentford. Brentford 4, Manchester United 0. Elsewhere in the Premier League today, Aston Villa 2, Everton 1. Arsenal 4, Leicester 2. Brighton 0, Newcastle 0, Manchester City 4, Bournemouth 0, Wolves 0, Fulham 0, and at St Mary's, Southampton came from 2 down to get a point at home to Leeds with goals from Joe Aribo and Kyle Walker-Peters. Afterwards, Ralph Hasenhüttl spoke to Alistair Bruce-Ball.
Ralph, that was some turnaround in the last 20 minutes of the game, some turnaround of atmosphere in the stadium as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, when you have 2 down, it's clear that the atmosphere is in the cellar, and then you dig yourself out of the cellar and then you go. And I think we showed a fantastic reaction. It was tough today, and I think the guys gave a good answer today.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that, Ralph, in terms of a good answer. I mean, if anyone wanted to watch Southampton today, that last 20 minutes in particular showed the commitment to the cause, do you feel?
Yeah, but nothing else was what I was expecting. And if somebody else says something different, then I should be careful, or you should be careful to spread this, because we know that this makes our life tougher, my job a little bit tougher. But the important thing is that I know what I have with my team.
Yeah. Does that noise, those stories? Well, you say it makes your job tougher. How difficult is that to ignore?
It would be easier when not everybody tries to take it and get a story out of it. It's shambles, and this is what I meanwhile must say is a little bit annoying in social media and in all this stuff what is coming. But yeah, we have to live with this. This is our job. We know this. Normally I don't want to speak about it. It's always good to give a reaction on the pitch, and I think the team gave the answer today, although we took only the point.
We heard from Gabriel Jesus earlier on Sports Report. He got 2 Arsenal goals as they beat Leicester 4-2. Brendan Rodgers afterwards was asked what he wants to happen at the club over the next few weeks.
You know, I can only really concentrate on the players that we have. I'm no different to Mikel. I'm no different to the other managers that, you know, that you want to be at the top end of the table. You've got to invest, and you've got to to bring in quality. However, the club have been great for me in my time here, and I respect that we can't do that. We're not able to do that. So like I say, my concentration then has to fall on the players that's here. But everyone knows when you can bring in players and bring in players of quality, it's not just what they bring in, it's the lift it gives all the other players, and that's obviously something that we've missed.
But it sounds like you're saying you've almost got to suffer a period of change to go progress forward again.
I think so. I think the club has always been stable. It's been run ever so well. So I trust them when they tell me there's no resources to do anything as of yet. Then I believe them. So we're not one of the big clubs that the pandemic didn't affect. It really affected us. Like I say, we're increasing the stadium. We've got £100 million training facility. So for a club like us and the resources that we have, that's a big outlay. So, but we're not at the level, and that's why these players have done amazing over the 3 odd years I've been here, to be challenging for Champions League and winning some trophies, But at this moment in time, we can't then push on and get in more players because we don't have those resources.
Let's go to Molineux, where it finished 0-0. It means Bruno Lage's side haven't actually won in 9 Premier League matches if you go back to their last top-flight victory on the 2nd of April. Alexander Mitrovic also had a penalty saved for Fulham. Here is Lage.
That's the balance that we need to grow up as a team, because if we cannot score goals, at least we cannot concede or give chances to the opponent. And in the end, what we look for, what he did all the game, I think we deserve the 3 points. And when you comes on a time that you need to be in that point, that emotional control, it's important, especially in the last 10-15 minutes, because the game will balance. I think with that period we have more fitness and strength than the opponent. We need to keep going in our game. Don't run as a crazy team, but stay focused, stay in the game, keep control of the ball, of the positions, of the emotions, and the goal will come, and we don't concede spaces and chances for the opponent.
In the Scottish Premiership, Rangers made it 3 wins out of 3 with a 4-0 win over St Johnstone. The story in the Championship, QPR coming from 2 down to draw 2-2 at Sunderland. Their equaliser coming from their goalkeeper, Seny Dieng. Here's his manager, Michael Beale.
And he finished it really well. It's actually really good technique, so well played to him. He's very modest, so he's calmed down in there, but obviously his teammates are making a fuss of him. We're delighted. I thought just before that we had a wonderful opportunity with Sinclair Armstrong to equalise, and we missed it, and I thought that was the big moment gone. Seny then goes down the other end and makes a big save to secure the point. So that's it. I believe he's one of the best goalkeepers in this league. I think he's destined for really big things, and we're delighted to have him as our goalkeeper.
Michael Beale. Don't forget, you can see everything Premier League wise. Match of the day tonight, which is 10:20 on BBC One with Shearer and Micah alongside Gary. Premier League Sunday tomorrow, Nottingham Forest, West Ham, and then Chelsea at home to Tottenham. Another 45 minutes of Bruno Fernandes walking around flapping his hands in the air follows, and then it's 6:06 with Robbie and Chris.
Thanks so much, chappers. Before we talk about Manchester United, you heard Brendan Rodgers there. Chris, what do you make of that?
Yeah, it's really, I mean, I hear from Leicester City fans tonight, Manchester United, clearly the biggest story in town, but just how despondent Brendan Rodgers, was there. Can't bring in any players of quality. I'm not so sure he's going to be around much longer at Leicester. I don't think he's going to put up with that. But let's talk about Manchester United, Rob. I mean, wow. Where do you start?
Can they turn it around the second half?
Come on, you're better than that. But, I mean, do you think Ten Hag is thinking, blimey, why did I bother? This isn't on Ten Hag, right? Or is it?
No, of course not. He needs a lot of time. But you look at the way they're playing, look at the structure of the team. You look at the structure of the team last week. Christian Eriksen played as a false 9. I don't know where that came from.
So you're saying it's on Ten Hag?
No, last
week's
the team. The structure of the team for me, obviously, if you hear Manchester United fans over the last couple of seasons, we can't play with 2 number 6s. Today's gone with Fred as a 1-6. Then you've got 5 attacking players. Away from home, 5 attacking players in the side, you're wide open. So I think it's massive. It's not Ten Hag's fault. He needs time.
Recruitment,
listen, we can talk about it in the show, but the recruitment over the years has been so bad. Where is Rabiot on the list? And Arnautovic? Who's even, where are they on the list of Man United when they're looking for players? I don't get it, Chris. It's an absolute shambles. But Ten Hag needs time. But Brentford, 4-0, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, incredible performance from Brentford. But where does this Manchester United performance rank then? In the history of Manchester United, where does that first 45 minutes rank? Let's hear from Manchester United fans.
08 085 909 693. Well, John Murray and Glenn Murray are there. John, where does this rank?
Pretty low. I think you've picked the right word there, Robbie. Rank.
That's unusual.
And as I said in the first half, Chris, you were too conservative with your predictions.
Yeah, well, I went 3-0 just off the back of last week. I thought it was going to be difficult for United to pick themselves up, but they've been pathetic.
I tell you what I'd do, John, if I was Manchester United, I'd make a triple change.
I thought you might do that. Yeah, well, that's very shrewd as ever. Listen, enjoy the programme later.
Cheers, Glenn.
Yeah, we'll be giving it a push during the second half because there'll be plenty to talk about. And you know, the other point is these Manchester United fans, those who've come down from the northwest of England, you know, with all of the travel problems today as well, the train strike, what a miserable experience from them. But it's a triple change from Erik ten Hag at the start of the second half. So Fred is off, Shaw is off, and Martinez is off. And the players who've come on as the second half begins with a scoreline of Brentford 4, Manchester United 0 are McTominay, Malacia at left back, and Varane in central defence. So a triple change, but you know, the horse has bolted, Glenn Murray.
Well, the one change that I look at there, and I'm not surprised, but is Martinez to drag. And I call it drag because that's what he's done. He's dragged him off at half-time, the shepherd's hook as we call it, and bring Varane on, I think speaks absolute volumes of this Manchester United group.
Well, he is new to the club, Martinez. It's his second match, as you'll be well aware. They spent something in the region of £47 million. And this was a player that Erik ten Hag knew extremely well because he was his player of the year at Ajax last season when they won the league in Holland. I don't know, there was quite a bit of talk before the game that Varane might start this match. So maybe there's been a decision there and he's decided, you know, now's the time to bring Varane in because there've been fitness issues there as well.
Not that they're down 4-0.
No, well...
I mean,
he had to change something.
I do feel for Martinez because as soon as he's joined Manchester United, he's been questioned about his height. That has got to affect you in some capacity, even if it is subconsciously, the things he's taken on board via his phone, via papers and things like that. But then to be dragged by the man that brought you here at half-time in your second start, I mean, his confidence must be absolutely rock bottom.
4-0. Brentford, red and white striped shirts, black shorts, black socks, on the way to a famous victory, one of their best. 4-0.
3-on-3.
And Burmo trying to hit the pass early. Those three players. Norgard was in the middle. Tony was up there as well. They take a quick free kick. Henry is onto this, the left wing back. He crosses and it's cleared away at the near post and out of play for a throw into Brentford down the left. They're playing from the right to the left in the second half towards what we might call the sun end. The sun is up there in the sky right behind that stand, blazing down on West London. Throw in 10 yards back from the corner flag, so it is one of the Brentford specialities. It's the long throw. Are Manchester United going to be capable of dealing with it? Jensen is right up against the advertising hoardings. Here he comes, the long throw, speared into the near post. Mee got a touch, and it was cleared away near the edge of the box by Fernandes, and Brentford start again. So Brentford, as they were in the first half, as you would expect. Raya in goal. He's clearing it downfield now, and it's headed out of play by Dalot. The three central defenders, Roerslev, Janssen and Mee. Hickey on the right, Henry on the left, then Norgard and Jensen, and Burmo and De Silva, and Tony as the central striker. And Manchester United, their rejigged team at half-time, I'll run you through that. but they've got to throw in again, Brentford. This one's taken short by Jensen. He gets it back, crosses it in. It's cleared out to Henry, who chips it back out to Jensen on the left-hand side. Jensen is up against the newly arrived McTominay, takes him on towards the dead ball line on the left-hand side, but McTominay has managed to get a foot in and clear it back up the line, and it eventually bounces off McTominay, and behind it's a corner to Brentford. That's a cheap one.
It was actually a pass back from Sancho that tried to find McTominay, just missed him, and it rolls pathetically out for a Brentford corner, and the two players exchanged looks of disillusionment.
Daggers.
Daggers, yeah.
I mean, that sums it up. It's another one of those days for Manchester United. I mentioned the fact that this will be Brentford's first win against Manchester United since before the Second World War. Well, there's more on that, because Brentford have got this corner first, which Jensen takes into the near post. It's bounced a long way out towards the far side of the penalty area. Tony gives it to the right. It's driven into the near post, and De Gea was able to get down there and block it with his legs. United scrape it away, and then Tony out there on the right has a right lash at it with his right foot, and it flashes wide and behind into the Brentford fans.
And you know what? If Tony was a little bit more composed there and just felt that ball back into the area, Brentford had three players on the back stick who would have headed into an empty goal. A little bit of a composure from Brentford, and it could have been 5.
Listen, since Brentford last beat Manchester United, which, as I say, was back in an FA Cup tie in 1938, in all of the games they've played, and there have not been that many, 6 wins for United, 1 draw. In all of the matches they've played since the Second World War, Brentford have scored more goals in this match than they scored in all of the games they've played against Manchester United put together since the Second World War. So United, I mean, it's one damning fact and statistic after another. But here they come now, trying to do something about this. Dalot chips it in, and it's headed down and wide by Cristiano Ronaldo. He had to stoop. He was slightly ahead of it, but headed it wide on the bounce.
I think by his own personal standards, Ronaldo should be scoring there. He watches the ball in, no one gets in the way of it, it's right onto his head. Yes, granted, it might be slightly behind him, but a player of his ilk can change his body shape just slightly and feel that back on goal, on target. And I think when he sees that back tonight, he'll be disappointed, but I don't think it'll make much difference to the outcome.
5 Live and BBC Sounds, 4-0 to Brentford. The goals from De Silva, that was a De Gea error. Jensen, that was a Christian Eriksen error. He was caught on the ball in his own penalty area. Ben Mee then in the aftermath of a corner, and then Brian Mbeumo scoring the 4th on the counter-attack after Manchester United had the ball down the other end. So 4-0 it is, and United in these rather sickly yellowy green shirts. Sickly, all right. Here's Sancho, a change of feet, and then again, but it's all rather laboured. Bruno Fernandes is behind him. Bruno Fernandes crosses right-footed right across the penalty area. Hickey follows it out there with Rashford. Rashford works it back to Malacia, the new left back. And then Scott McTominay chips it to the right corner of the box to Dalot. Left-footed ball in from him, and the header from Ronaldo. 10 yards out, 12 yards out, lands on the roof of the net.
Again, Ronaldo, man of his standards. The ball comes in from the same side. Dalot swings it in with his left foot. He feels it towards goal, and that is mightily close to dropping in that top corner of David Raya's goal.
Landed on the roof of the net, though. So the Manchester United team now, Glenn, in the second half. De Gea in goal. Dalot, Maguire, Varane and Malacia. So 2 substitutes in the back 4. Then Scott McTominay with Bruno Fernandes and Christian Eriksen. Sancho and Rashford in the wide positions, and Ronaldo up front. So Erik ten Hag making 1 change from last week's starting lineup, but now making 3 changes at half-time. And another thing as well, Glenn, I must mention is I just thought as well, having had a week to work with Manchester United this week to build up to this game, for that reason almost alone, I was expecting more of Manchester United, and this is all the more damning in the light of that, as Norgard plays it forward, and then back it goes to the halfway line. Roerslev to the right. Brentford lose possession, and it's won back by Bruno Fernandes, who passes it to Rashford on the halfway line, and Rashford passes it down the line, but there's no way Bruno Fernandes is reaching that. Took a deflection though, it's out of play for a throw-in to Manchester United. Rashford played it off the defender.
I mean, that piece of play there was a nice little link up between Ronaldo and Fernandes. But when that gets passed back to Fernandes and he's looking forward, there's no one in front of him. No one's breaking their neck to get behind that Brentford line. And Sancho, I watched on this opposite side, just canter into the middle. He didn't even try to make a run forward. And that's what Manchester United lack.
Here is Rashford, might get away down the left, but cuts back onto his right foot. And in that moment, Roerslev is onto him and puts in the block. And the ball bounces away towards the halfway line. In these sweltering conditions, the players around about 2/3 of the pitch is in this bright sunshine. And Sancho now moving in from the right hand side, gives it to Ronaldo, square from him. Fernandes allows it to run. Malacia is going to try a shot, but it hits Roerslev inside the penalty area and bounces away for Brentford to clear up to Tony on the halfway line. Tony battling with Maguire, who does win the header against Tony. Oh, and that was very nearly Mbeumo was onto that. Eriksen was just able to take it away from his former teammate Christian Eriksen and gives it out to the left hand side. Eriksen gets it back. Ronaldo 10 yards inside the Brentford half.
And I think this half, obviously, Thomas Frank in the dressing room at half time, I think the biggest thing he would have to do is calm his players down.
Here's Dalot now into the penalty area on the right hand side, chips it across, but chips it wide and over the top of the crossbar and behind. Goal kick, 4-0 Brentford. Glenn Murray.
I just picking up on that point I was making of Thomas Frank there and calming his players down. I mean, they must be in absolute dreamland right now, and they've got in there. I mean, they must have been pretty hyped at half time, and I think his job is, we need to manage this game, boys. Take the sting out of it. We don't need to score again. We just need to control as much as we can and keep our heads when we're in such an ascended position.
Well, it's red hot, and it should be red hot for callers on 606 tonight after this. Manchester United supporters, you'll want to talk to Robbie and to Chris. You can book your calls now on 08085 909 693. Get in touch on 85058 to book your call on the text, or similarly on social media. Get involved, hashtag BBC 606. And you can read all about the day's sporting and footballing events, of course, on the BBC Sport website and app, and then the highlights on Match of the Day tonight on BBC One. And as we've suggested, this will be top of the bill. I don't think there's any doubt about that.
No, I don't think there is. And just chatting about Erik ten Hag's substitutions at half-time, and I understand Malacia, a new player coming into the football club. I kind of understand Varane just to shore that back line up, but why not bring Van der Beek on? He's former player. Big question mark for me. I thought he would have been one of the first on the team sheet when I seen Erik ten Hag become the Manchester United manager. And another thing, he's brought players on that are, can I say, tried and tested. He's seen them, he's seen what they can do. Why not bring Garnacho on? Why not bring Elanga on?
Well, we might see them yet, but it is Brentford who come forward after Manchester United lost possession. But Malacia is able to close down the attempted cross, and it bounces behind for a corner to Brentford. And they've been so effective in, I mean, the plans, talk about plans coming together. I mean, that has happened time and time again for Brentford, while Manchester United's best laid plans have fallen apart. And Jensen and Mbeumo walk together. Something almost romantic about that, isn't it? The way that they walked, holding the ball almost together, applauded by all of those fans in the lovely warm sunshine here. Moments to remember. Mbeumo and Jensen. It is Jensen who takes this one. It's a deep corner towards the back post, and Tony very nearly got himself, and it was only Eriksen who spotted him at the last moment, who came across with a saving header to put it behind for a corner from the other side.
Yes, the ball was quite high, and Tony was in a standing position just waiting for the ball to fall, and it wouldn't quite fall quick enough. He was willing it onto his head, and as he was doing that, Eriksen saw the danger and just nipped in to give Brentford another corner.
And it's lovely again from Mbeumo and Jensen. They're able to walk all the way across the pitch together and get applauded all the way over.
Well, I don't think those two players could be any happier on the football field right now, John.
So who's going to take this one? Jensen or Burmo? They're both standing off the pitch. There's that usual Brentford movement inside the area. It's Jensen to the back post, which is hooked away by Rashford, who was there, and then it's cleared further away by Malacia on the edge of the box. They're looking to break, but it's Burmo who gets there first, ahead of Jadon Sancho, the man who's just been involved in the taking of the corner, snuffs out the Manchester United counter-attack. And then Raya's able to fire a ball away downfield to start another Brentford attack, which results in a throw-in for the home side. Brentford 4, Manchester United 0. If you've just switched on, if you've been out involving the sunshine, if you maybe just got back into the car, you've been at the beach, you've not really been paying attention, it's Brentford 4, Manchester United 0. 4-0. Yep, 4-0. And it's a throw-in for the home side, cheered on by their supporters. Just their second season back in the Premier League. And here they are looking for what would be an extraordinary 5th goal. And Burmo was very nearly in, but Malacia was able to put in the challenge. And actually the flag was up against Brian and Burmo. And it's a free kick to Manchester United. Glenn Murray.
We talk about at half-time we talked about a Manchester United reaction, didn't we? And if anything, it's Brentford that look like they're going to extend their lead even more. There's been no reaction from Manchester United. All the substitutes they've brought in, as we see Sancho exit the field of play and bring on Anthony Elanga.
So that comes immediately after Sancho was beaten by Burmo there.
Yeah, the last action that Manchester United had in the Brentford half, it was basically, I would class it as a foot race between Sancho and Mbeumo. And I think it boiled down to who wanted it more, and it was Mbeumo. He got there, he made sure he got the ball, he took it from Sancho. He was probably at one point in that race ahead of him. And it just, I mean, those are the problems Manchester United have, and it boils down to that, I think, hunger.
So Sancho is off. That's the 4th change of the 5 that Erik ten Hag can make. His team are 4-0 down. Elanga is on for Sancho. Elanga, who I saw score here last season when Manchester United actually won 3-1 in that match. They were 3-0 up. Tony scored a late goal. I remember they came into that with a bit of pressure on them, Manchester United, but stood up to them on that occasion. But the fact is, so often now they come into matches when there is pressure on them. Well, and very often they don't come up to the mark.
I remember playing Manchester United teams in my career, and you looked at them in the tunnel and they seemed like giants. You were almost beaten by the badge before you went on the field of play, but now they've lost that fear factor. Manchester United, as a football club, regardless of how big they are, how big their stadium is, they're not a scary prospect anymore.
And a ponderous Manchester United attack comes to an end with Malacia caught in an offside position. And this is Brentford's first change. And it is Vitaly Janelt, the German midfielder, who is going to come on for Josh De Silva, who's had a brilliant start to the season after all of the problems that he's had. You might have been hearing or reading about him last weekend, this hip injury that he had, 4 months on crutches, then had a hamstring injury last season, and he walks off the field now. You know, great ovation. Thomas Frank shakes his hand, scored the opening goal today. It's been a lovely day in the sunshine for him. So Vitaly, they're singing his name, the number 27, who has got a sniff, I think, of getting into the German squad for the World Cup. I know that Hansi Flick has supposedly been interested, been to watch him. So that is one with the World Cup not too far away. We'll be there and bringing all of that to you. I suspect some days, Glenn, in Qatar, it might be cooler than it is here in Brentford. Maybe.
Yes, quite possibly, but I think some of the stadiums, if not all of them, are air-conditioned over there, so that will be that'll be quite nice from our point of view, won't it, John?
It will. Janelt has slotted into that defensive midfield role, but Manchester United coming forward with Bruno Fernandes. 4-0 down Manchester United. Rashford goes one way, he comes short. Fernandes passes the ball long, it rolls past Rashford, runs out of play. Bruno Fernandes is talking and looking at Rashford and waving his arms and telling him what he expected, and now he's got his palms apart. Rashford's ignoring him. That is not a good look for Manchester United, Glenn Murray.
No, and you mentioned those two players there, and that's just one of the problems. I mean, it's right throughout this Manchester United team. They're looking at one another. There's no cohesion. There's no understanding. The question is there a plan?
Well, if there's not a plan, that man down there in the grey short-sleeved shirt, the black trousers, the shaven head, the Dutchman, Erik ten Hag, he's got to find it. He's got to find a plan, an effective plan. One problem with that plan is Manchester United's next match, a week on Monday, is at home to Liverpool. Christian Eriksen passing the ball forward into the Brentford half. Elanga comes short and then plays it back to Varane, out to the left-hand side, to Ronaldo, who's dropped deep and is going to have a run at the Brentford defence. And comes the challenge from Janelt, who forces Ronaldo to use McTominay. And now the ball played out towards the left-hand side. Again, Malacia is there. The home supporters, it's party time in the stands, in the home sections. The Manchester United fans, they had a huge anti-Glazer banner, by the way, at half-time, which I guess they brought with them in any case, because that's very much a theme of the moment. But it was particularly pertinent when the team were 4-0 down to Brentford to unveil that in the stands. You'll see pictures of that, I'm sure, on social media. Eriksen playing a long pass over the top of Dallot's run and through and bouncing for a goal kick. 4-0 Brentford.
And a big theme of this game, John, that we've sat here and watched this afternoon is Brentford basically allowing Manchester United to have the football and retreating into what can be described as one bank or two banks of four, and just being hard to break down, and basically Manchester United not having the quality to be able to break them down, and shooting from distance, shooting through bodies, and basically Brentford have just frustrated them into submission.
Brentford 4-0 up, but on the back foot now. Christian Eriksen turns, looks, faces the play, plays it into the path of Dalot. Long floodlight shadow cast across the pitch at the feet of Dalot. He now plays the ball into Toney, but it bounces to Maguire. McTominay, middle of the Brentford half, stands up tall and plays the ball to the left-hand side. Rashford, a flick by Fernandes, but behind Ronaldo, and Ben Mee was able to stretch in and clear it away. Rashford turns, there's a little touch from him there. Bruno Fernandes now down by the byline. The defender slides in, Norgard to put it behind for a Manchester United corner. This is Manchester United's first corner of the match, with an hour and 5 minutes played.
And it actually looks, as we see Eriksen just about to take this corner, the Manchester United fans are having quite a bit of fun in that corner.
Yeah, they are. They're serenading Eriksen in there. And the corner from him is over the top of Bruno Fernandes, who then fouls Ben Mee as he's challenging for the ball. He disputes that, Bruno Fernandes. It's a free kick to Brentford, who continue to lead 4-0. And the lines are open now for 6:06 with Robbie Savage and Chris Sutton from round about 7:30. 08 085 909 693. One match being played actually in the National League at the moment. Last I looked, it was Oldham 0, Dorking 0, and the 100, the cricket commentary, is on Sports Extra right now, live from Cardiff. So around about a quarter of the match to go. There'll be great celebrations in this part of London tonight after a win like this, and why wouldn't you, on a beautiful evening, as Manchester United with Rashford bursts into the penalty area. Diagonal run across the box, turns, crosses towards the header from Eriksen, but diving to his right, Raya is able to catch the ball as he's almost fully extended and holds on to it.
And it's the 66th minute of this contest, and that is the brightest bit of Manchester United forward play we've seen all afternoon. And it comes from Marcus Rashford, who has been one of the brighter ones of the Manchester United squad, and he feels it back into Christian Eriksen, who rises, tries to head the ball to the left of him, and it's quite a nice head. It probably didn't have enough power on it, and Raya dives across to his right and caught it comfortably enough, as we see the players have another water break.
Yep, drinks break halfway through the second half. So they've had that header from Eriksen. There was a Ronaldo shot in the first half. I think that's it in terms of attempts on target from Manchester United.
Oh yeah, the one early on. Yeah, he had another one that blazed over the bar. I mean, like I say, Brentford have been comfortable sat in their shape and allowing Manchester United to shoot from distance and frustrating them.
Did you say that you had
I have got
a fact of the day for me?
Well, I was
as they might call it.
Do you know what, John? I was actually cleaning up your mess. That's what I was doing, because the fact that you gave us earlier on about the Manchester United...
Oh, have you got it?
Yes, I have. And the two teams that they were beaten by were Everton, which was 5-0, and West Bromwich Albion.
Well done. Well done. So that was the last time a Manchester United manager,
a very, very long time ago,
lost his first 2 competitive matches, and that was John Chapman. I don't know if he was any relation. I doubt it, because he's a Scotsman. They were his first 2 matches as the Manchester United manager. That was back in 1921, and no United manager since then has lost his first 2 matches. So well done. I don't know when you had the time to look that up, Glenn, with your nose to the grindstone.
Well, the internet's a marvellous thing, John.
Oh, you've done very well there. That's multitasking on a grand scale. So drinks break almost over. I bet Manchester United wish this match was almost over. We've got lots more Premier League for you tomorrow. Remember, 5 Live, more Premier League commentaries than anywhere else. Tomorrow, 2 o'clock, Nottingham Forest, West Ham. That should be a cracking occasion. You'll hear that in full as Elanga charges down a clearance from me, and it's behind for a goal kick. So that's a 2 o'clock kick-off tomorrow. I'm going to be going down to Stamford Bridge tomorrow for the 4:30 between Chelsea and Tottenham. And we'll have coverage, of course, of all of the day's top sport, all of the football. Steve Crossman's going to be presenting from the City ground, and it is a goal kick to Brentford.
Picking up on what you just said there, John, about the Manchester United players probably wishing that they didn't have to go back out after that drinks break. I just wonder if this was a boxing match, if they would have thrown the towel in by this stage.
Well,
what do you think?
It'd be an iced towel if they were going to throw a towel in. That United banner's come out again, Glenn. United for sale. They want they wish. The hardcore of Manchester United fans are so desperate for a change of ownership. You know, and it's the hardcore that follow Manchester United to the away matches in the main. I mean,
as we speak, and they're blasting out United will never die, and they are the people that keep football clubs alive, is the supporters. And this right here, right now, is probably the lowest ebb that most of those guys have ever seen in Manchester United's history. And I think it's just got past the point that they're not frustrated, they're not disappointed anymore. They've just said, let's have a sing-song and let's have a good afternoon and try and enjoy the sunshine.
And the sunshine, yeah. And you're talking about that generation in terms of what they've witnessed and all of the successes. But it's been a tough 10 years. 10 years next year since they last won the Premier League, when Sir Alex Ferguson retired with that final blaze of glory. But they're 4-0 down to Brentford. So Brentford are equalling their record win against Manchester United. Here's Fernandes, though, trying to reduce the deficit, giving it to Rashford on the left-hand side. Rashford's cross, that's headed away by Janssen in the middle. Pontus Janssen comes out to McTominay, 25 yards out. But Brentford have got every single one of their red and white stripes back behind the ball. So it is so congested in there. And now Malacia crosses from the left-hand side. It's over the top of Elanga. I just wonder whether he might have been impeded by Henry in the box. He went sprawling, couldn't reach it. There were no appeals. Dalot, with the outside of his boot, plays it back towards the halfway line. And now here's Varane. Rafa Varane, after all of his medal collecting with Real Madrid. There's no prospect of things improving in his second season. And Malacia just miscontrolled that ball, had to take it out, had to race out to the left-hand side, and then gives it back to the little figure of Christian Eriksen. So important for Brentford last season. 11 appearances. They won 7 of the 10 matches that he started, Christian Eriksen, and that's why they finished up in 13th in the Premier League last season. Here is Ronaldo now. Ronaldo gets it back, gives it to Malacia, but they've got to try and find a way through all of these red and white shirts. Rashford tries to do that with a burst into the box. He's got support there from Eriksen. Eriksen plays it across, bounces off Elanga, though, at the crucial moment, 10 yards out, and Brentford clear.
Yes, and that ball almost fell to Cristiano Ronaldo. In fact, it did fall to him. He just fluffed his lines because he went to pass it with the side of his foot and he just missed the ball and it skipped past him. Again, Manchester United falter in front of goal.
As Ronaldo hits a shot on the turn, but I think the whistle had already gone in there. I think it had. It wouldn't have counted, but it flew over the top of the bar. So a double change, I think, for Brentford now. One of the goal scorers, Brian Mbeumo, scored the 4th goal, running away on the counter-attack. Beat Luke Shaw to score it. He is a typical a typical Thomas Frank Brentford player, isn't he? Well, the team's full of them. And he's going to be replaced by Johan Wissa, the Democratic Republic of Congo international. And Matthias Jensen, who's had a very good game. And he is replaced by Chandon Baptiste, who came on as a substitute at Leicester last weekend as well. So Baptiste is on, and Wissa is on. And Jensen has really caught the eye today, Glenn Murray.
Yeah, he's kept the ball well. And I think the key thing that he's done whenever he's had the opportunity from especially a dead ball, his deliveries into the box have caused problems, and they've been right on the money for Brentford.
So Wissa takes up a forward position. Brentford 4, Manchester United 0. Lines open for 606 08 085 909 693 to talk about this 4-0 to Brentford, the scoreline of the weekend.
And just looking at those substitutions, Wissa for me could be a problem for Manchester United. He will want in on the act.
Rashford, now this is hunger, rides a couple of challenges, he's in the D, beats a couple of men, gives it to Ronaldo now, there's new energy in him, a little flick behind the back of his heel, gives it to Rashford, that's headed out to the left hand side. Malacia, suddenly there, Ronaldo and Rashford looked like changed men. Malacia now on the left hand side, back onto his right foot, but he's all left foot, and he gives it to Fernandez, and Fernandez curls it into the back post. Dalot arriving, but Henry got there first with his head behind corner.
Henry's defended really well that back stick on a couple of occasions. We watched Alanga try and get on the inside of him just a few minutes ago, and he bumped him. Perfect defending, and again Dalot's got the run on him, but he stands his ground and clears that ball. Rico Henry's done a fantastic job.
15 minutes to go, 4-0 to Brentford. And Manchester United's Christian Eriksen takes this to the near post, can't beat Norgard, who's able to head it away, and Wissa is chasing it, and Alanga has got there first, but they're tangling the two of them, and he's been fouled by Wissa, and it's a free kick to Manchester United. He was playing for it, but it's a free kick to Manchester United. But it just feels like it's a matter of just seeing the time down now for Brentford. Who would have thought that? Malacia just moving across Wissa and playing it to the left-hand side to Eriksen. And then Malacia, left-footed ball high into the box. Raya up high, challenged by Fernandez. There's a little bump between the two of them, but David Raya caught it easily.
I mean, Fernandez gets a warranted knee into his leg there, because he had no chance of getting that ball. He went in just to upset Raya. I think the odds probably were more like 80% Raya, 20% Fernandez there, and it was a needless jump in, and the Manchester United number 8 seems to have hurt himself a little bit there.
Yeah, I think he's all right. So Brentford's ball. So 4-0 to Brentford, if you weren't listening earlier. So this is equaling Brentford's biggest win against Manchester United. It's going to be their first win against United since before the Second World War. It's going to be 7 consecutive league away defeats in a row for Manchester United. That's not happened since 1936. Erik ten Hag's going to be the first Manchester United manager to lose his first 2 matches since 1921, and he'll be the first Manchester United manager to lose his first away match since Sir Alex Ferguson. So at least he's in good company there.
And that's one positive stat there you've just finished with, John.
Yes. Throw in for Manchester United halfway inside their own half. Malacia to take this. The Brentford fans are getting excited about it on the far side. I think they're just excited generally. And then there's a foul by McTominay. McTominay, who many felt might have been shown a red card last week. This is only a free kick, and rightly so. But it's a free kick to Brentford, and that's relieved the pressure they've been under for a few minutes or so. But I mean, I say pressure, it's not been intense pressure, because I think everyone assembled inside the G-Tech Community Stadium knows what the outcome of this match is going to be. 3 points to Brentford, none to Manchester United.
Well, I feel as though that has been Thomas Frank's tactics. I think taking into consideration the heat of the day, he's wanted his players to sit in and hit Manchester United on the counter-attack, and that shows through the possession stats. I mean, the away side, Manchester United, who are 4-0 down, have 69% of possession.
Free kick then that Janelt is going to take, I think. There's 2 of them over there, but it is Janelt who strikes it, and he's mishit that altogether, and he's given it to Rashford, who was very nearly away on the counter-attack until he was tripped by Shandon Baptiste, who might be a little fortunate not to get a yellow card for that, because Rashford was away, but it's a free kick to Manchester United.
But again, from Brentford, game management, that as far as Brentford are concerned, Shandon Baptiste, that is a good professional foul. He stops the attack, and any opportunity that Rashford might be able to open up his legs.
4-0 then, and United take this free kick across their back line. 08 085 909 693 is the number to talk about this or any of the matches that you are at or witnessed or want to speak about today. You'll find all of the details on the BBC Sport website and app. And match of the day tonight on BBC One. Alan Shearer's birthday today. He's with Micah Richards alongside Gary Lineker, and Brentford are going to make their fourth and fifth changes, and it's Aaron Hickey who is going to be the first man to come off.
And what a superb signing that young man's been. Plucked from Atlanta, young Scotsman, come back to the UK, and I'm sure he's absolutely loving life right now.
Yeah. Bologna, actually, it was.
Oh, sorry,
yeah,
Bologna.
They're very close together, actually. We were there last season, Bologna and Atalanta. But here he comes off the field, very quietly gone about his business. Very impressive.
Yes.
So he's on, and Mads Bech Sorensen comes on. So I guess Roslev will maybe move out to the right-hand side of the defence. And the other change sees Frank Onyeka coming onto the field, the Nigerian international midfielder, the number 15.
And I think that's for Christian Norgard, who's just walking behind the back of the goal, and he's blending in to all the Brentford shirts in the stand.
As he would. Yes, I just wish, as the long throw is taken for Brentford, and it comes out for the shot that is flashed in from Henry from 25 yards through a crowd of players. David De Gea to his right was able to make a decent save, actually. Got a good sight of it. It wasn't too wide of him.
Yeah, it was a good save. It was a really good strike by Henry. He caught on his left foot. It fell nicely for him. But you know what struck me there was his reaction. As soon as he hit that ball, his first thought was, next action, I need to get back into position. And he did a 70-yard sprint from the right-hand side of the field back to his left-back position.
Yeah, that speaks volumes. Tells you all you need to know about Brentford, this Brentford team, who are looking at taking 4 points from their first two matches. That's a great start after the way that they finished last season. They were in a bit of trouble, weren't they, at one stage? McTominay gives it to the left to Malacia. Now Rashford's ball across the stretch, Bech Sorensen, and then it's turned across the face of goal by Eriksson. I thought he'd hooked it in, but he hooked it wide.
I did. It just popped up nicely for Eriksson, didn't it? It was a little bit behind him. He had to swing that left foot. He got deflected the ball in from Rashford, and he swung his left foot on the volley back across the goal, and he just hooked it a little bit too wide as we just watch it on our monitor just sail. Actually, what ends up a couple of foot through the post, but for a second there, I was expecting the back of the net to bulge.
Less than 10 minutes to go. Brentford 4, Manchester United 0. And United going to make another change. Van der Beek is just putting his shirt on, so that will be number 5, won't it, for Manchester United? Yep, that'll be the final change, Van der Beek, but I mean, the game's long gone.
I bet he's delighted to be coming for the last 9 minutes.
And there's a foul by McTominay. And now Wissa plays it across. Was going to play in Tony. McTominay could be in trouble here. It's going to be a yellow card for the foul on Onyeka, who, I mean, I think it is a yellow, but Brentford were away there, but it was in the middle of the half. He had options though, but a yellow card it is for McTominay.
It was the same problems again. The deep line midfielder getting rolled the ball, trying to turn, trying to play the ball round the corner, getting closed down. Brentford robbing possession, and immediately they're in at Manchester United's back 2 or 3. I mean, when are this group, I mean, they're such talented footballers. When are they going to realise and stop making the same mistakes over and over again? Now, it doesn't take Erik ten Hag as the manager of football to make them realise. They know they're making the same mistakes over and over again at the moment.
That's it, Glenn. You're absolutely right. That, you know, you look at the individual talent that there is on this pitch.
And it's
you
unmatched. It's unmatched from the Brentford half.
Yeah.
Completely unmatched. The talent in the Manchester United squad is second to none.
And you do think, what is it with them that none of the, Eric Ten Hag has had 2 matches so far. All of the managers who've been in that position, they've lost their jobs because they haven't been able to make it work.
Yeah, to possibly motivate this group, I think we've got to stop looking at the Manchester United managers, because it's the same story regardless of the manager. So you've got to start looking at the players.
Free kick. Onyeka is still receiving treatment, actually. I think he sort of rolled his ankle, didn't he? So McTominay put in the challenge and his ankle buckled a little, and he's on his feet. I mean, he's a formidable figure, isn't he? And I think there's a yellow card. Is that Fernandez? Is it something that's been said?
I think he's been moaning just a little bit too much, as he quite often does.
So a yellow card for Fernandez, that's gone down. I think that's put the seal on it, hasn't it, for the Brentford supporters after the way that he's been. So free kick, Janelt takes it, scoops it into the area. It's worked across to the near post and put behind Tony's attempted centre, Malacia.
I mean, even now, 4-0 up, 6 minutes remaining. Brentford are still working set pieces from the training ground. They're still thinking, they're still being calm in the moment. They're going through the process, is what they know to do.
Yeah. Brentford leading 4-0. 6:06 on the way with Robbie Savage and Chris Sutton to talk about this. Another awful day for Manchester United. But what a day for Brentford. They'll be wanting Brentford fans on to celebrate this. Corner then from the right-hand side. Lots of movement again, but this time it's headed away by Ronaldo. Henry hits a shot into the penalty area. Still Brentford attack. And wonderful footwork, and the shot from the angle from Janelt is parried away in behind, round the near post by De Gea. Excellent work from Janelt.
Yeah, brilliant play from Janelt. He picks this ball up and he's just skipped past a couple of Manchester United players. One goes sliding past and then another. He checks back in onto his left foot and he unleashes a shot. And
corner's taken quickly, and the shot comes in from the edge of the penalty area from Wissa. De Gea got down well and parried it away. It was cleared away. In comes the next ball to the near post, but that's scooped up by De Gea, Glenn.
Yes, and it was De Gea who made the first save, and then 2 more saves after that, and all of a sudden he's busy, and we see Manchester United on the attack now.
Yeah, boos for Christian Eriksen. 5 minutes to go. 4-0 Brentford. Rashford in the box, still going. The ball to the edge of the area. Ronaldo with a shot, but it's straight, more or less straight after the actually run in field from Elanga. It was to the edge of the penalty area. Ronaldo with the shot, but it was curled straight into the chest of goalkeeper Raya.
Yes, and as Elanga was just making his way along that Brentford 18-yard box, Fernandez almost tried to take the ball off him, and I think he might have kicked the young man trying to shoot a goal.
One of those days, Glenn. The problem for Manchester United is that they've had far too many days like this. 4-0 at Brighton at the end of last season. New manager. First away match of this season. 4-0 at Brentford. Here's Elanga. Now Fernandez. Fernandez chips it over the top for Elanga into the penalty area. Lovely little lift past the defender. Still Elanga, but they are there in numbers, Brentford. 3 of them forcing him away. Fernandez ball in, took a deflection, stretch and clearance away from Janssen. Bruno Fernandes again on the right-hand side. Long shadows now being cast by that hot sun. Diego Dalot into the penalty area, but Ben Mee read that all afternoon and cleared it out of play near the halfway line. So 4-0 it is, and we'll see Van de Beek coming on now, and it's going to be Christian Eriksen who's off, and they're going to wave him goodbye. Christian Eriksen, they loved it when he was here last season, but they were unhappy that he didn't stay. And therefore, that's why some Brentford fans have booed him. But you can hear plenty of them here are applauding him as well in the stands too. I should make that point.
I can actually see 1 or 2 of them having a go at one another over that issue there, because...
Well, I know it has been debated amongst Brentford fans this week.
Yeah, it has, yeah. And I for one, are definitely on the ones that he needed to be applauded. Definitely not for the way he's played this afternoon, but just because of what he'd done to this football club. Because I think at one point last season, Brentford looked like they could be possibly going to get into that tangle of going down, but like I said earlier, that partnership between him and Tony and the understanding, I really feel fended the relegation fight off.
Yeah, those 7 wins in their last 11 games really lifted them completely out of danger, and Eriksson was at the heart of that. So 3 minutes, less than 3 minutes to go. Brentford 4, Manchester United 0, plus added time. There'll be plenty of that as well. Then it'll be 6:06. We'll have the live interviews as well. Don't miss those. Robbie and Chris will be handing to John Southall, who'll be down talking to Eric Ten Hag and Thomas Frank. They'll be very different interviews, those two, won't they?
Well, I think from the...
poor ball from Dalot has set Brentford away on a counter-attack, and that's a foul by Rashford coming back, conceding the free kick. I mean, he had so many options there.
That's a good foul by Rashford, by the way.
Baptiste could have gone through the middle, right, left with his pass, but Rashford brought him down. Yellow card.
We've talked about Manchester United a lot in this game, but with 2 minutes to go, Rashford did show a little bit of something there, coming back and bursting his neck to get back there and make a challenge and stop that Brentford attack.
What do you think, Glenn, with Rashford, Paris Saint-Germain? Then, in fact, you can answer that in a moment, because Janelt is going to play this free kick now out to the right-hand side. And Wissa to Baptiste. Brentford in possession, way over there in that corner on the right. And here's the cross, which has got some adrenaline behind it. That's pumped high over the penalty area and into the stand. So goal kick Brentford, who lead 4-0.
So what do I think about the possibility of Marcus Rashford leaving Manchester United? Well,
yeah, would that be good for...
It depends.
First of all, would that be good for the individual?
Yes, indeed. I mean, I think you've got to accept that that Rashford's a Manchester boy. I think he's a Manchester United fan, so there's that side of it. But I think when you look at it, you only get a certain number of years playing this beautiful game that we watch week in, week out. And he wants to win things because he is such an exceptional talent. And is he going to win things? Looking at this afternoon's viewing, not quickly is not. And then when we look at it from a Manchester United point of view, I think he's sort of the jewel in the crown almost, even though he hasn't produced it over the last year or so. I still think he's one of the better ones at Manchester United, and the potential is still clearly there. So from a club perspective, they will be desperate to keep him.
So that's Marcus Rashford. Glenn Murray on Marcus Rashford. One Premier League striker on another. 4 minutes of added time. The ball is hoisted up in our direction. Won't actually go off the field. Ben Mee is now putting it into the stands just down to our left. Almost got a touch there, Glenn. 4-0 Brentford lead. We're in added time. 4 minutes of added time. Well, I don't think we'll forget this afternoon in a hurry. Brentford fans certainly won't. First time you and I have done a commentary together. So that is, I think that could be a first for 5 Live, by the way. Ronaldo thinks about a shot from 30 yards, but then gives it to McTominay. And McTominay plays it behind Malacia, and the ball rolls out of play for a throw-in. Yeah. And that, again, yet another example of, well, that sums it up for Manchester United today.
I think plays it's a nice term, that, John, because he drilled that behind him, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, I did hear Chappers chatting earlier on the show, and he said we have the Murray brothers. I think it's more a father and son act, is it not?
Yeah, God. That's a sad turn of events. I'm not careful, it might not be happening again. I was thinking more of the fact that it was a Cumbrian-Northumbrian combination, you and me. I'm not sure we've had one of those before in a commentary team on 5 Live.
I'm not sure the BBC have.
Well, let's not get too political after the week that we've had. Here's Van der Beek. It bounces off him to Janelt, and Janelt through over the halfway line. Baptiste back to Janelt, but it's all A time for the Brentford supporters. Surprised some of them actually are leaving early here. You'd think they'd want to be a part of, I mean, not many, just one or two, I should say, but you'd think they'd want to be part of Hey Jude after this, inside this ground.
We did chat about that early, didn't we, John? And I remember the atmosphere against Arsenal last year, the opening game, and the Liverpool game here, and I was really blown away by the atmosphere. But today I can't say it's been flat, but it's maybe been a little bit disappointing.
Well, maybe it's been too easy for Brentford.
Well, that is a point.
But wait for Hey Jude after the match, and Thomas Frank will take his players around. You know, this is to be celebrated, this. Whatever the state of Manchester United, for Brentford, from where they were, you know, remember, it's not too long ago that they spent a couple of seasons in the 4th tier and, you know, had to make bucket collections to keep the club going. Look at them now.
It just shows what a club run properly can achieve, though, doesn't it?
Certainly does. And here is goalkeeper Raya passing the ball out to Henry. Brentford next weekend, by the way, one of the Saturday 3 o'clocks you'll hear on 5 Live. They are not too far away at Fulham for a West London derby, Fulham-Brentford. So Brentford in possession with Ben Mee. And,
he's off.
Bruno Fernandes. Now, is that a second yellow card? Was he booked earlier?
I thought he was booked earlier, John, on the edge of the box.
He clearly wasn't. So that is a yellow card for Fernandes. You know,
we thought he was, didn't we, earlier on the edge of the box?
We weren't 100% sure, so that confirms it. So I'm sure Stuart Atwell didn't get that wrong. So yellow card for Fernandes. Just a minute or so to play before Brentford can celebrate this great win for them. Raya clears the ball away downfield. David De Gea's got the ball in his hands. If you weren't listening earlier, David De Gea caught out badly. A really poor mistake from him to concede the opening goal to De Silva. Matthias Jensen scored the second after Christian Eriksen, of all people, was caught in possession. The third came from a corner, Ben Mee's first goal for Brentford, and then Brian Mbeumo scored on the breakaway to make it 4-0. That was 4-0 inside 35 minutes. That's the way that the score has remained. And Brentford have won a free kick. Baptiste's won a free kick, halfway inside his own half. And there it is. There is the final whistle here at Brentford's Community Stadium to herald a famous victory. They'd equalled their record victory against Manchester United. Brentford's first win against Manchester United since before the Second World War. But the history for Manchester United is all bleak. Erik ten Hag becomes the first Manchester United manager since 1921 to lose his first 2 matches in charge. And United, under his stewardship, are left with no points from 2 matches against Brighton and Brentford. That is a horrible start for the new manager, Glenn Murray.
Yeah, I mean, starts don't get any worse than that. As I'm just witnessing Ronaldo walk off, and he doesn't look very happy at all. He's having a little bit of words with, I think it was Steve McLaren, as he walks off. I mean, it doesn't. I think from the positive, he's just walked right past Erik ten Hag, by the way. Yeah. He didn't shake his hand.
And Erik ten Hag also unmoved.
They didn't acknowledge each other, but I mean, I think from a Manchester United point of view, it doesn't get any worse, John.
What was that exchange with Steve McLaren, Glenn? I didn't see that.
No, I missed it, to be honest. But every one of them spoken to Steve McLaren as he walked off, and not one player has even looked at Erik ten Hag. Mind you, if I'd put a performance in like that, I might not look at my manager either.
Wretched day for Manchester United. They've been beaten 4-0 by Brentford. But a great day for Thomas Frank and his team, and they are going to enjoy this moment in the sunshine here. It really, for Brentford, does not get too much better than this. So that's it. Plenty to talk about. Thank you, Glenn Murray, for your company during the course of the afternoon. Amazing afternoon and evening of football here. But it's finished. Brentford 4, Manchester United 0. And it's time now to talk about this and everything else. But this will be at the top of the bill, I'm sure, Robbie Savage, for you this evening.
It certainly will, John. Thank you so much to yourself and Glenn Murray there watching Brentford absolutely hammer Manchester United, Chris.